Hey, what's up? What are you guys doing, man? We're checking out, just kind of walking around this. Oh, what the fuck is this room? Sarok Creation Pit. That sounds pretty cool. Let's check this shit out. What the fuck? What the fuck? Wow, this is the coolest room. Fucking, this is ever. There's no cooler rooms, man. Let me know if you think there's a cooler room. I'll tell you you're a fucking idiot. This is the coolest room ever by a large margin, in my opinion. Let's talk about the fucking boss in the room, huh? Instead of the actual fucking room, you retard. Let's go. Hello, my friends. Let us begin, okay? Now, understand this, as I've said countless times already. This is not a strategy guide. This is not going to help your raid kill the fight. This is aimed at healers who are looking to get perhaps a first look at the fight, see the boss killed from a perspective that is a healing perspective, something that so they can get a good feel for it, stuff like that, more or less to guide the healers through the fight. So realize that. We're going to look at the live footage a lot in this one because there's not a lot to talk about, to be completely frank. There is a few mechanics that I do want to touch on. We're going to do that right now, and then we're just going to go right into the live footage, and I'll explain exactly why this fight is one of the most fun and one of the worst fights in this raid. All right, let's do that. All right, so Primordius' abilities, realize this. You'll see this in the live footage. This is not your typical boss, okay? I don't know why, but it feels like all the mechanics they don't really matter, especially from a healing perspective. Just come into this fight ready to just heal like a nut, all right? If you can do that, if you walk into this fight with that perspective, this fight is going to be very, very easy for you as a healer. Let's talk about the actual mechanics, though, because they are pretty important. This one here, basically he could get, maybe it's different in 10 man, I don't really know, to be honest with you, but one way or the other, 25 man, he's got six slots of abilities, and he can only have 3 at a time, and they could be any random assortment. Alright, we're going to go one by one. This one, no, that's not the one. Ventral Sacs. Okay, Frill, blah, 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 20,000 nature damage to all players every 1 second. It's honestly irrelevant. It really is. Like, I did not even know when this was up. So click this one off. Gas bladder, I feel is relevant. Acid spine's relevant. Move on. Pathogenic glands. All right. Once again, I came into this fight. I was told that people are going to take 1,000,000 damage over 10 seconds, and I had fucking hand of purity. I was ready to go, and I honestly never even noticed it happened. It's like whatever. Yep, just heal somebody. But to min-max yourself, for this ability, he's going to put pathogen glands on somebody. You want to try to set up your heal frames. I do not have it set up. That's what I'm saying. You'll want to set up your heal frame so it shows when the person gets it, and then you'll want to hit them with something, maybe like I'm using Hand of Purity. It's a really good option as a Holy Paladin, but as anything else, you don't really have a lot of good options. Either way, just keep an eye on them. They're going to be taking a lot of damage over 10 seconds, but honestly, as I've said, it did not even feel relevant to me. A metabolic boost, irrelevant, just hits tanks a bit harder. Mutagen, erupting pustules, showering the area with corrosive blood. I think somebody died to this at one point, but once again, I honestly just didn't even know when any of these abilities happened, minus these two. All right, now these two are pretty important. Okay, the first one is gas bladder. He's going to basically, you'll see it in the live footage, a big green circle, and it needs to be split. So you just get every single person in the raid inside this big green circle, and nobody really even takes damage. But if you did want to min-max it, I would aura mastery it. You can put down a bubble if you can. The boss is going to be moving a lot, right? So just use a cooldown if you think you need it. If not, it's really not that big a deal. Gas bladder it happens a lot, and it will do a lot of damage over the course of a fight, but every single time it happens, it barely does anything, provided enough people split the 1.5 million damage or whatever it is. And then this one is absolutely Rape Face. This is the only one that I felt could wipe us at any point and would wipe us constantly if it was up the whole time. We got 1 or 2 attempts at deep where it was up right in the beginning, and we had no shot at killing this fight that way. So this is going to be a very, very complicated mechanic in 25 man. Acidic Spines is going to basically target random people and splash. Okay, every 3 seconds. and it does a lot of damage. 100k every 3 seconds to one person, and has the potentiality of splashing to like 5 or 6 people, and the melee were just getting obliterated. They really, really were. You'll see that in the live footage, but just be prepared for this. This is when I would use Aura Mastery and cooldowns, because the other one, while it's predictable, it really does nothing, provided everyone is actually in it. And this one will fuck you. It will just destroy you if people are stacked, excuse me, and they likely will be, based on the pattern the boss is taken. Now we're gonna look at the live footage. This is not a strategy I would recommend to many guilds, and we use it for a specific reason. Not gonna talk about it here, but I think most guilds probably just kind of tank them in the center, and that's probably a lot easier for the healers, but you'll see what we do. Let's move on to the live footage, and we'll talk about the other mechanics there. Actually, before I do that, I did just want to prime the footage by saying you should never dispel on this fight, okay? The fluids or whatever, they're going to give a buff, all right? But read this. If a mutated player is dispelled, all mutations are removed. Just realize that is a very, 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 very bad thing. You don't want that to happen, okay? So I don't know. There might be sometimes you do need to dispel. You should be cognizant of when somebody gets a bad debuff. But unless they have all 5 stacks, it's just not worth the dispel. It's not, because it's going to do more harm than good, okay? So I would tell your fucking raiders right now. Tell everyone else around you if they don't know. Take the spell off their bar except 1 or 2 people. Let's look at the live footage, all right? Okay, let's make it pop, 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 pop. Anyway, you will see near immediately, the boss, the strategy we are employing is very obvious. Basically what we're doing is we're kiting him around in circles. And while this may seem kind of counterintuitive at first, the goal is to keep a constant trail of the bloods running into him, essentially from the back. The front ones we're ignoring. We just let the front ones hit him. Obviously, some are going to hit him no matter what strategy you use. But allowing them to kind of pull up in the back allows our melee to cleave and split damage a lot easier between him and the boss. It's kind of something we employed, and it's not... I wouldn't recommend... It makes the fight a lot harder as a healer. But that's just a primer for, so you understand why the fuck the boss is constantly moving in an encounter like this. Anyway, in the beginning you see me eke out a bit of damage. That's very optional. You do less damage to the boss, so it's going to be hard to do any significant damage as a healer unless you actually have the buff. It's going to make atonement healing a bit harder. Obviously nobody else who's trying to eke out damage like me meleeing the boss. It seems like a good idea, but I'm doing so much less damage. It's whatever. It doesn't make a difference. It's neither here nor there. It's stuff you'll have to deal with. But first things first, right now you'll see a ton of debuffs on my decursive there. It's right above my heal bot. Okay, and those are all the mutated individuals. So if I were to click one of those people now, they would lose their DPS increase, basically. They cannot do DPS unless they have that, and it gives a bunch of other stats as well. So if I were to click one person right now, I guarantee you if I did it in the middle of raid, somebody would be like, who the fuck just dispelled me? So don't dispel. Every once in a while there is bad debuffs that go out if people get too many stacks of the puddles, and I'd encourage them to call out for dispel. You do not want to be in a position where you're trying to figure out if they need to dispel. So tell anyone in your raid right now, listen, if you need a fucking dispel, you got to tell me, because I'm not going to touch this. 20-some people with debuffs, no way. No fucking way, okay? But other than that, you'll see this. If you use this strategy, you'll see it's very hard to maximize AoE healing that go on the ground. Like, my hammer is fucking useless. I barely even get to use it here. Very hard to use Bubble. Very hard to use Tranquility. Not so much Tranquility, I guess, especially if you have on-the-move Trank. But you see that giant fucking swarm of bloods coming at him. That is what we're looking for right there. That makes it very easy. Look at all that AoE damage, all them chain lightnings and shit. But there's the caustic gas. You see the green ring. As long as you're in it right there, soaks the damage. You saw how little damage we actually took there. It really, really, really is trivial. The tanks are going to be getting hit hard. But, there's nothing you really need to predict. You just kind of, if it looks like one of the tanks are getting hit hard, hit him with sack, get some big heals on him. But that there is just, when he's doing it, and you got to be stacked. Otherwise, it's no joke. The only thing that may suck, which does not happen in this attempt, but has happened in the past to us, is caustic gas and the poison, the AoE poison one. I can't remember what it's called, poison something. They could happen at once, essentially. So he's going to do the caustic gas thing, and then he's going to start doing the poison as well. So it's like you have to stack, but then you have to split. Actually, it might happen in this attempt. It might happen at the very, very end. But you'll see here, we push this right to the enrage. I'm not sure if that's a DPS issue, but be in it for the long haul as a healer. You'll see me constantly meleeing the boss any second I get, just because I am trying to stay ahead on mana. This is a fight that you are going to struggle to keep everyone alive on, especially towards the end, and you need to be ready for it. You need to know coming into this fight that there is going to be people who are just going to take so much fucking damage at times, and it's honestly not even noticeable. As I said in the previous section, like, the damage is going out, he's throwing out debuffs and stuff, but I'm not even aware of it, because there is so much going on that I'm just AoE healing the entire fight constantly. There's no reason to ever stop it. With that kind of damage going out right there from the gas, and the other random fucking damage that's going out, it's just AoE the entire time, never stop. Definitely a high spirit fight. The more AoE you can get out, the better you'll do on this fight. But there should never really be anything you need to worry about moving from. If you want a concentration potion, this is a good fight for sure. It shouldn't be too hard. I think I might do it at some point here. I don't know why I haven't done it yet, to be honest with you. But if I do it, I'll show you but kind of just run out of the range of any of the actual mechanics. Make sure you know what's happening on the boss at the time. And just sit down and fucking Z. You know, very, very simple. But the damage does ramp up over time. I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about. I'm kind of just fucking forcing myself to talk at this point. I want to show you. Yeah, see there, I'm concentrating potion right there. So I just made sure I was going to be out of the range. I almost got clipped by it, but I got lucky, I guess. Yeah. Just a lot of AoE damage. Wait until the end here when the main mechanic actually starts happening. I know what happens. But you'll see exactly what I mean. People start just getting mutilated. It's crazy. But I can't stress it enough. I really can't. You just have to come ready to heal like a nut. So we've lusted there. Oh, is it happening now? A bunch of people take some spike damage. And caustic gas still going out. But just come ready, come prepared in the mental mindset, like Ultraxion type fight. I am going to have to AoE heal for the entirety of this fight. And as long as you're able to conserve, it's all about conservation. The first 2-3 attempts, oh yeah, there's volatile pathogen. So I got that. I bopped. I bubbled. I thought that was going to get it off me. It didn't. But I think it stopped the damage. So that's an option as well. But that is the thing. Volatile pathogen, I would, as a paladin, I'd pick up Hand of Purity. And if you could really, if you really want to min-max yourself on this fight, make sure your bot, your hero bot or voodoo or whatever are showing that debuff properly. Because mine is not. It's acting like it's not even on anybody. And hit somebody up with that Hand of Purity when they get it, and it's going to basically they won't take damage while it happens. So that's about it. I really don't know. Did it never happen in the entire fight? Is that what I'm saying right now? More caustic gas, which does fucking nothing, as you see. It does like fucking barely 15% of people's health. Feels like a looking frame mechanic, to be honest with you. Very underwhelming fight. Very, very underwhelming fight. But the mechanic we use, as I said, it is both one of the best fights in the game because you could just pretty much straight out AoE. You never have to stop and predict. Nobody's ever going to really get one shot. Stuff like that I hate as a healer. But at the same time, the strategy we use makes it very, very difficult. There it is there. See those green splashes? I just realized it's happening now. That green splash, it's so close to the end. But yeah, see that? I'm standing on another person. We both just got hit for 100k each. It's devastating. It really is. Look at the health bars for the last... Oh, we are just shitting on this boss, aren't we? Fuck. But yeah, this is when you take the damage. This is when you want to Aura Mastery. This is when you want to Totem. See, we just threw a Totem down there. This is when you want to try to Spirit Shell, get the bubbles down. And that's it. As long as everybody's spread out for that, you are fucking going to kill this fight very, very easily.